Did you know that Kay Cuoco and Johnny Galecki secretly dated without their fellow cast members knowing? The Big Bang Theory became famous over the years for its humorous storylines and fun ensemble. But a lot was going on behind the scenes that fans never saw. From hidden relationships to quirky behind-the-scenes habits, there's more to the show than meets the eye. One of the biggest surprises is the secret relationship between Kay and Johnny. They quietly dated for about 2 years during the early seasons of the show. Their on-screen chemistry as Penny and Leonard turned into a real-life romance, even though they were both dating other people at first. Kay admitted that she only had eyes for Johnny during Season 1, the iconic elevator shaft scene in Season 1 is reportedly when they both started feeling the spark. Johnny later revealed that the chemistry became a distraction, and it was something they could no longer ignore. Their relationship stayed private until Kay opened up about it in an interview, explaining that they remained close friends after the breakup. At one Comic-Con event, even stayed in separate hotel buildings, and secretly met through underground passages, running back and forth between rooms to keep their romance hidden. After they broke up, filming intimate scenes became a bit awkward. Ironically, Chuck Lorre, the show's creator, started adding more romantic scenes between them, almost as if he was playfully stirring the pot. Despite everything, their friendship stayed strong. Another behind-the-scenes secret involves the building's iconic staircase. Most fans remember the frequent scenes of characters walking up and down to reach their apartments. However, that staircase was just one set, filmed repeatedly with small changes to make it look like different floors. It was located on Stage 5 at Warner Brothers. The production team would swap door numbers, props, like bikes or water jugs, and even modify signs like the broken elevator notice to create the illusion of a multi-level building. According to Kunal Nayyar, who played Raj, the cast would walk down the stairs, pause as the crew redressed the set, and then continue walking to make it seem like they had gone to another floor. Timing was critical, especially with live audience laughter, sometimes interrupting the pacing. If you watch closely, you'll notice identical scuff marks and wall sconces, no matter which floor the characters are on. The stairs were actually built by digging into the soundstage floor to simulate real depth, making the illusion even more convincing. Still, it must have been tiring for the cast to walk up and down the same set repeatedly. And then there's Johnny Galecki's unusual on-set habit. While the elevator was always broken in the show, leading to all those stair scenes, what fans didn't know is what happened under that staircase. Kunal once revealed that Johnny had a strange habit of sticking his chewing gum under the bottom part of the set, since that section was never on camera. Johnny used it as a hiding spot for his used gum for the entire 12-year run of the series. Today, if you were to look under there, you'd supposedly find what Kunal described as a wall of about 3,000 dried-up chewing gums. Once that story got out, it made headlines as one of the weirdest on-set secrets of the show. There's clearly a lot more to The Big Bang Theory than meets the eye. During moments when Sheldon felt especially nervous, overwhelmed, or unsure about a situation, often related to social interaction or changes in his routine, blue shirts symbolize calmness or hope, typically seen when Sheldon was feeling more stable or emotionally balanced. On the other hand, black represented detachment or a defensive emotional state. Usually worn when he was being particularly cold, logical, or combative. These shirt colors weren't randomly chosen. They were deliberately selected as a subtle way to reflect Sheldon's internal state to observant viewers. This detail, inspired by the emotional color spectrum from the Green Lantern comics, added a surprising layer of depth to the character. The show's costume department, led by designer Mary T. Quigley, collaborated with the creators to make sure this visual storytelling remained consistent across episodes. Most viewers never noticed it at first, but once pointed out, it becomes a fun and clever Easter egg that reflects just how much thought went into creating even the smallest elements of the Big Bang Theory. From chewing gum-covered stairwells to secret instrument skills, cryptic catchphrases, and color-coded moods. The show was packed with quirky details and behind-the-scenes stories that made it more than just a sitcom. It was a cleverly crafted world full of layers, both on-screen, off that, fans are still uncovering long after the final episode aired. Apartment. Those whiteboards weren't just random science-looking scribbles for aesthetic. Many of the equations, diagrams, and notations actually reflected real scientific theories and problems. The showrunners brought in UCLA physicist David Saltzberg as a technical consultant to ensure that the formulas were accurate and meaningful. The whiteboards would often change from episode to episode, aligning with whatever the characters were researching or discussing. For example, when the gang worked on quantum entanglement or string theory, the boards would be filled with actual formulas and calculations relevant to those subjects. In some episodes, these boards even hinted at the episode's plot or included real-world scientific news that had just broken at the time of filming. There were also fun, hidden messages tucked into the scribbles. Occasionally, inside jokes between the writers and crew were embedded into equations, or fake theorems with humorous names would appear. The boards became a kind of Easter egg playground for fans who loved both science and storytelling. Between lensless glasses, hidden equations, meaningful wardrobe choices, and heartfelt tributes, The Big Bang Theory was far more than a sitcom. It was a meticulously crafted world, filled with small, thoughtful details that rewarded fans who paid attention. From science nerds to TV buffs, everyone had something to discover beneath the surface of the show. Most fans don't realize just how many strange and fascinating details were hidden behind the scenes of The Big Bang Theory. One of the weirdest facts involves Johnny Galecki's unusual habit. Used to stick his chewing gum under the set staircase for the entire 12-year run. Kunal Najar revealed that the bottom of the staircase, which was never filmed, eventually became covered in thousands of pieces of dried gum. It's such an odd fact that some fans have even joked about wanting a piece of it as a bizarre collectible. But the gum isn't the only surprise. Many people also don't realize that the cast members had real musical talent. The show didn't just deliver laughs, showcased impressive musical performances. Mayim Bialik, who played Amy, actually learned to play the harp for her role, and performed songs like Everybody Hurts and Dead or Alive herself. Jim Parsons, who played Sheldon, took on the challenge of learning unique instruments like the theremin, and even played bongos and piano on the show. Johnny Galecki is an actual cellist. In the episode, The Hamburger Postulate, he's seen tuning a cello in a way that showed his real experience. Though the actual playing was mimed to avoid recording live sound. Simon Helberg, who played Howard, has been playing the piano since he was 10, which came in handy during musical scenes and the Footprints on the Moon band moments. Even Kunal Najar showed off his guitar skills on screen. These weren't faked performances. The actors either already had the skills or learned them for the show, adding an authentic touch to many scenes. Then there's the show's most iconic catchphrase, Bazinga. Fans loved it, but many have no idea where it actually came from. First appeared in the Season 2 finale, The Monopolar Expedition. Quickly became Sheldon's trademark phrase for pranks and clever comebacks. But the word didn't come from the scriptwriters at first. Stephen Milaro, one of the producers, revealed that writer Stephen Inyol coined the term during Writers' Room pranks. He would hollow out grapefruits, tape them back together, and offer them to others before yelling Bazinga. Was eventually written into an episode and stuck with the character ever since. The writers even had to tone it down in later seasons to keep the phrase from getting overused. Still, it made a huge cultural impact, so much so that when Brazilian scientists discovered a new species of orchid bee in 2012, they named it Euglossa bazinga, inspired by Sheldon's Trickster. Where the PLAY. The show didn't stop at just catchphrases, even slipped in a playful language game from the past. In one episode, Penny and Amy speak in Ubbi-Dubbi, quirky kids' language popularized by the 1970s PBS show Zoom. They used it to communicate secretly when the guys switched to Klingon, giving them their own clever code. Even Sheldon's clothing had hidden meaning. Many fans didn't realize that the colors of Sheldon's t-shirts reflected his mood. Inspired by the Green Lantern emotional spectrum from DC Comics, red signaled anger or frustration. Green showed confidence or willpower. Yellow represented anxiety or fear. Blue stood for calmness or hope, often worn during more peaceful scenes. Less frequently, he wore orange, which symbolized ambition or intellectual drive, and violet, which reflected love or emotionally charged moments. Ow! These choices were not random, they were deliberate Easter eggs designed to add depth to Sheldon's personality in a subtle but meaningful way. Penny's fridge was another hidden gem. The photos on it weren't just set decoration, they were real pictures of Kaylee Cuoco with her castmates and members of the crew. As Penny's character evolved and moved in with Leonard, many of these photos came with her. One particularly touching detail was a photo of Caroline Susi, voice actress who played Mrs. Wolowitz. After her passing, a tribute photo was quietly placed on the fridge and stayed there in all future scenes, a subtle, heartfelt tribute that many fans missed. There's even a shot from a behind-the-scenes moment Leonard's dream about Penny in an elevator shaft that ended up on the fridge. Blending real life and fiction in a clever way, fans also might not have noticed that Leonard wore lensless glasses for the entire length run of the show. Johnny Galecki initially wore glasses during rehearsals, and the crew assumed they were his own. But once filming began, a problem arose. The studio lights reflected off the lenses whenever he looked up at Sheldon. To fix this, Johnny popped the lenses out, and the character kept the frames as part of his signature look. Despite being nearsighted, Leonard's glasses never actually had lenses. Adding a humorous layer to all the jokes about his eyesight, the whiteboards in Sheldon and Leonard's apartment were another subtle but impressive detail. Every formula scribbled on them was scientifically accurate, thanks to Dr. David Saltzberg, a physicist from UCLA, who served as the show's scientific advisor. He worked on every episode, updating the boards weekly, with real formulas, often tying into the plot or referencing real scientific discoveries. At one point, the boards even included an equation pulled directly from Raiders of the Lost Ark, a known mistake in the film, added as a clever inside joke. Mayim, Alex's real-life PhD in neuroscience, also added a layer of authenticity. When she joined the cast, writers decided to make Amy a neurobiologist to reflect Mayim's real background. She even helped fine-tune scientific references and made sure certain lines or props were accurate. Not every actor had a science background, though Jim Parsons admitted that the technical dialogue went over his head most of the time. He resorted to memorizing complex lines using note cards stuck around the set or hidden in props. Superhero references were also very intentional. While the show often mentioned Marvel and DC characters, only DC heroes appeared on posters, costumes, and t-shirts. That's because Warner Brothers, which produced The Big Bang Theory, owns DC Comics. Including Marvel characters would have required expensive and complicated licensing. So, while characters referenced Marvel occasionally, like Raj and Howard writing a song about Thor or Stan Lee's cameo, they were never shown wearing Marvel costumes. That's why Sheldon was always seen in Flash, Batman, or Green Lantern gear. Some of the show's visual Easter eggs were surprisingly consistent. Penny, for example, used the same red or brown shoulder bag throughout all 12 seasons, and she wore the same light blue floral shirt in 3 key episodes. The pilot where she met Leonard and Sheldon, the 100th episode when she rekindled her romance with Leonard, and the series finale when the group gathers for takeout. These subtle wardrobe choices quietly marked important milestones in her character arc. One of the most surprising moments in the show's history came when comedy legend Bob Newhart guest starred as Professor Proton. In 2013, after more than 6 decades in the business, he finally won his first Primetime Emmy Award for that single guest appearance. The standing ovation he received when he took the stage with Jim Parsons at the Creative Arts Emmys was a testament to the impact of both the actor and the character. From hidden messages in equations to personal mementos tucked into background props, The Big Bang Theory was filled with details that most fans never noticed. Whether it was chewing gum under a staircase, a real PhD, actress fact-checking neuroscience lines, or superhero politics shaping wardrobe choices, the show went to incredible lengths to create a world that was not only funny, but also richly layered and deeply thoughtful. So next time you rewatch the show, keep an eye on the fridge, the whiteboard, and even the t-shirt colors. There's a lot more going on than meets the eye.